Righty, so this is the third collaborative mock draft. I got Ryan here with me. He's also a Patriots fan, so we're
Go
gonna,
Pats, baby.
yeah, we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna defer to him, so he's gonna take the evens. I'm gonna take the odds. So we're gonna jump right into this. Now, number one overall, this is a slam dunk. Cam Ward, like this isn't even a question. I don't think Tennessee even considering trading back right now. This is probably their guy for the next decade at least. Like he's got the arm talent to be a consistent starter in the league. He's got the tools to produce at a high level. He's got he's got the offensive line at least a little bit around him. He doesn't have it completely down. He's got the coaching especially in place to potentially improve.
All right. This is a very interesting pick for Cleveland because I think they could go quarterback here, but I just think that with this pick, you gotta take Abdul Carter here, man, because like to pair him up with Myles Garrett, like that would just be an insane, like just pass rushing defense, man. Like I think that they're gonna tank this year and go quarterback next year. I think they're just gonna ride with maybe like who did they just trade for? Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're gonna go here. They could go Hunter, but I just don't see them. I don't think they like Shadur, man. I don't think they like him. Just Carter and Myles Garrett is just crazy.
I haven't really considered the Giants taking him just because I believe they still have a little faith in Kayvon Thibodeau and they have Brian Burns, they have Dexter Lawrence and whatnot. So
Yeah.
Carter alongside Garrett is just absolutely insane for any NFC North or AFC North quarterback. Scared Joe Burrow a little bit with Abdul Carter in the mix there, along with Garrett. To the Giants, this is Hunter. This isn't
Oh,
really,
you're taking Hunter?
yeah.
I mean, personally, I understand it because they need a corner, right? They lost Adoree Jackson and they picked up Paulson Adebo, but I understand this pick because like I think to pair him up with Neighbors and Adebo, like that's going to be a good offense and defense, right? He plays both sides of the ball, so I just think that's really important. But I think Shadur could also go there, but you know, I think that's a good pick for the Giants.
Yeah, and there's not too much stress on him necessarily having to be the alpha on either side of the ball.
I think that it's possible they tank Campbell, but I think they're going to go Ashton Genty here. This is probably my hottest take, but I think they're going to go Ashton Genty over Campbell.
Okay.
If Hunter and Carter is off the board, I've been saying like I was not expecting you to pick Hunter at three. I thought you're going to go Shadur, but if Hunter and Carter's off the board, you're going Genty there. I just think that Ramondre Stevenson, the fumbling issues, that's a big problem. And I don't think they really like Will Campbell as much as the media thinks they do.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Vrabel getting his Derrick Henry. I
Yeah,
I love the pick. Genty's the third best player in this class, and it's like a graphic I saw on CBS where it showed the top five leaders in rushing last year. The top two players were Ashton Genty and then Ashton Genty after contact. Like
that's nuts.
Ashton Genty had over 1,900 yards after contact last year. Like he's absolutely he's the best running back prospect since Barkley. Like he'd go ahead of Bijan, he'd go ahead of Gibbs. They're in the same draft class. Yeah, that I really like that pick. He's gonna open up a lot of avenues.
Josh Daniels would like a guy like that, man.
Yeah, Genty's breaking off big runs and whatnot, especially in a division where there's really only one team that can consistently stop the run, and that's New York. He's going to absolutely dominate Buffalo if they don't
Yeah.
hit on their interior pick. Miami's just a crap show, so it's kind of all over the place. Jacksonville.
This one's obvious.
Yeah, I think so. This is going to be Mason Graham, former high school wrestler. He was the heart and soul of that defense. Michigan's not even making the playoff the year they won the national championship if it wasn't for him. Jacksonville gets a boost on that defensive line. He's the safest player in this draft.
Great.
And Vegas too.
Oh, well, I wasn't expecting you to pick up Carter and Hunter, and I thought it was you were going to go two quarterbacks. Originally, I had the Raiders taking if we went the two quarterbacks in the top three, but now I think this is a very interesting pick because I think where do you go? You need a quarterback, right? And Shadur's available, so I think you got to go Shadur.
Even with Gino there?
Yeah, I do. I
Okay.
really do. Gino is not. he's getting up there in age, and they're going to need a quarterback. Like in this situation, like they're going to need a quarterback.
Okay, okay. Vegas like kind of just deferring to either the middle rounds or next year. That's just kind of how I saw the Geno move, and that's how I saw like the Russell Wilson move as well. So like Shooter absolutely could go in that top six range, like just kind of be in a not Patrick Mahomes, but in a similar type of situation where he sits for a year. You take him in the top 10, he sits for a year behind a veteran quarterback. Pete Carroll's got his guy for the next 7 to 10 years, maybe. This brings us to New York. New York's been blowing up quarterback rumors left and right, even with Justin Fields in the building. I think it would be an absolute mistake to take a quarterback here. Just on a investment level, you're investing a decent amount into Justin Fields, but you're also kind of throwing away a relationship that Garrett Wilson has with Justin Fields and basically saying, oh, yeah, we already have his replacement in the building. I'm going to take my number one tackle, and it's going to be
Membu.
Membo out of
Yeah,
Missouri. He's probably going to play right tackle. Maybe he could slide in a guard, but they need another guy there. They're
yeah.
they're too old on that offensive line or too old in the tackle room. They gotta
Because yeah, didn't they have a they had Moses at right tackle, and then last year they had Tyron Smith. So that what are they like 35? Both of them, like they're
yeah
pretty old.
yeah
So
yeah. So
I
this
actually this is off topic a little bit, but I like what the Jets did last year, like taking Tyron Smith and then having Olu develop under him.
yeah
That's a rare Jets W, honestly.
yeah and New York. The problem is New York's gonna make the wrong decision either way. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna get to draft day and they're gonna surprise us all and take like Tyler Warren at 7 when
Yeah,
a
but
tackles
this
on
is
the
like the logical pick. You take Membu.
yeah absolutely, or they take Jackson Dart or something like that. And Carolina to you.
Mm, this is a tough one because I feel like they could use a wide receiver, but I feel like here they might want to go with like an edge rusher. You know, they went crazy in free agency on the defense side of the ball. You know, they picked up Wharton and Brown and Morig, so they really focus on the defense side of the ball, right? And I feel like in the draft they could go Tet here, but I'm not going to pick him. I think they're going to go Jalen Walker. You know, they just need an edge rusher, man. So or a
Yeah,
linebacker.
absolutely. Yeah, do what they did a few years ago, where they were just kind of developing the defensive side of the ball, hoping to get one of those. Building, I think prioritizing the defensive side of the ball when I think they have figured out how to tailor the offense to Bryce Young is absolutely the move. New Orleans in absolute financial hell need to prioritize the trenches. They can't take a quarterback here. You don't have the offensive line in front of them. You don't even have a defensive line to close out games. I'm gonna kind of go away from my board a little bit and go a little higher than like more so on the kind of consensus board. I'm gonna take Mike Green here out of Marshall.
Wow, Mike Green.
I know it's a little kind of a little bit of a reach here, but
I had him going in like the late 20s, man. It's nuts.
yeah,
That would be a Saints kind of move though.
that's the thing about this edge class. Like you could go like whatever edge is your favorite could go at or outside Vanderbilt Carter, whatever edge is next on your board could go 8 or he could go 25 or 28 or 29. Like my personal board, I have Michael Williams as my number 2 edge. Now, Mike Green produced a lot. He has the character concerns, but we all know the Saints don't shy away from the character concerns per se on the
Yeah.
defensive side of the ball. And when you get a guy like that who's an absolute disruptor, you gotta just kind of run it into the or run into the podium. So
I think here, I think here you go Will Campbell.
okay,
I like what they did on the offensive line. Like Ben Johnson's really, you know, they picked up Tooney, they picked up Jonah Jackson, they picked up Dahlman. Like they already have Darnell Wright. Like their offensive line, like I think, like just protecting Caleb Williams is so important for this offensive line. Uh, you know, just this whole team going forward. And they already have DJ Moore. They already have, Roma Dunze. So they don't need a receiver here. So I just think they go Campbell here.
yeah, and Braxton Jones, I don't view as a consistent starter on the offensive line, especially when you bring in a rookie who's as experienced as Will Campbell is.
100%. Yeah.
So this kind of screws San Francisco out of their pick a little bit.
Yeah,
Barron's been a really common pick. Can also see Will Johnson here. I can also see Malachi Starks. I can see kind of an edge. I really can kind of see a little bit of everything. Booker maybe. I'm gonna go with Will Johnson here.
love
Again,
that pick.
deferring a little bit away from my board, but I don't think he has the speed issue that everybody's concerned about. He has the best instincts of any corner in this class. He is going to be the general of a cornerback room where you drafted Renardo Green last year as kind of that nickel, and you have Demadre Lenore, and you're just gonna your secondary is set for the next 5 years with those three guys in place, and you don't have to worry about that again. You don't have to like you take your guy, you take the guy who has the best instincts again out of anybody in this class.
I think Dallas goes Kelvin Banks right here. There's not really much to say about this pick for Dallas. They need help on the offensive line going forward, you know. So I really think that's just what they do. I could see them I could see them taking Tep. Like that's a real possibility. I know he's projected to go a little lower, but they could go Tet here, but I think they could ultimately go Banks.
Yeah, they need a guy to protect Dak, who they're paying $60 million to. They should, in my opinion, probably should not have prioritized over Parsons and Lamb. Hopefully, have him start at left tackle for the next 5 to 10 years. And he's a plug and play. He's a plug and play guy. Again, he has some things to refine, but overall, solid pick for Dallas. There, Miami. Now that screws them out of, or the Banks pick screws them out of where they were going. I'm gonna go Tyler Booker here with a short passing game. You want to kind of prioritize that interior a little bit, and
Mhm.
Booker's one of my favorite prospects in this draft. Throw him right in day one. He's going to be able to hold his own with a Quinn and Williams. He's going to be able to hold his own with a Milton Williams. Like you throw him in to the fire day one, he's going to keep Tua on the field and keep Tua upright. So, Indy to you.
Indy needs tight ends, man. They're gonna go with Tyler Warren here. I mean,
Yeah,
this is just the obvious pick.
yeah, this yeah, it opens it up completely for Richardson. It kind of gives him a security blanket. Atlanta here, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're going to do what they should have done last year and take an edge. This is going to be Michael Williams out of Georgia. Again,
100% agree.
again, edge is just kind of all over the place. You could take Pierce here. You could take Ezra here. You could take Shamar Stewart here. I wouldn't be opposed to it. You could take Landon Jackson here. I wouldn't be opposed to it. So it's kind of just to pick your favorite edge. And this is a great year for like Atlanta is salivating at the edge class this year because you can't really go wrong per se. Now you got to make sure you don't take Tack McKinley over TJ Watt. Yeah, so Michael's the guy here. He's a little raw, but he generates a lot of pressures, and he's going to feast on the division this year, especially with a deteriorated Saints offensive line, with a like not in terms of experience per se, but in terms of just playing together, lack of experience on the Carolina offensive line, and then the question marks that Tampa Bay has at right tackle opposite Tristan Wirfs. Michael Williams fits perfectly there and could help Atlanta make a serious push for the NFC.
I agree. It's been like how long? Like 7, 8 years since the Falcons have had like a good edge rusher. Like every draft class, they've just needed edge rusher, and they just haven't found a good one.
Yeah, and this is the draft where they absolutely 100% need to take one.
I
If they
mean, weren't they
take,
projected to go Dallas Turner last year?
yeah, it was either
Yeah,
Turner or Verse, and
yeah.
either one of those guys would have opened up that defense and they would have made the playoffs had they taken one of those guys. Now, Penix is good in his own right. He's better than Cousins, but I think Atlanta would have gotten another win had they had, especially Verse. If they had the defensive rookie of the year, they would have absolutely made the playoffs last year.
Now Arizona, they lost Kaiser White. They go Jahad Campbell here.
Okay.
I don't know why they didn't bring Kaiser White back, but I don't know. But
Maybe
they
they're
need someone
hinting
like
at a
Campbell.
linebacker.
Yeah,
The linebacker class is a little sneaky in terms of kind of how deep it is, especially also with safety. But Campbell plays sideline to sideline very well. He doesn't have again the greatest instincts in the world, but he does kind of just he's all over the place. Like he will be that guy who probably he has the potential to lead the league in tackles for a couple of years of his career. Like he got that kind of edge in terms of just chip on his shoulder. Cincinnati here now again with a team that has financial constraints, especially like Cincinnati, it's more important. It's more important. There's more of a prioritization than ever to draft in the trenches, either on the offensive line or defensive line. Now you could go Simmons here. I like. Let's see here. Walter Nolan. I really like. Shamar Stewart's up there. I'm gonna roll with Walter Nolan here.
That's an interesting pick.
He was a standout coming out of high school. He highly touted recruit, has a great motor, absolute monster bull rush. You'll have to put double teams on it. And I think this is a great value. I think Cincinnati gets their Geno Atkins.
Seattle. This is a tough one right here. This is tough. Man, this is a tough one right here.
There's one guy that's kind of staring back at me that I'm
This is a tough one, man. I think here they go Simmons.
okay.
It's a tough pick, man, because I feel like a good scenario for Seattle would be Tyler Booker falling to them. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know. I think they go Simmons here. It's a tough one.
Interesting. Over Tet?
Yeah. I mean they already have Smith Najigba and they got Cup. I don't think they're gonna go another wide receiver. I think they'll go Simmons there.
Interesting. Yeah, the like Darnold needs the offensive line in front of him to succeed.
Exactly. That's another point. Like Sam Darnold, he holds the ball too long, and I think just having, good protection's gonna help him a lot, as
Yeah,
does any quarterback. But
yeah, the
yeah.
more the merrier. Tampa Bay. Now, Jahad Campbell would be the pick here if he was there. It's kind of just a perfect fit kind of thing. I think I'm gonna have him take best player available, and for me, that is Shamar Stewart. Now, I have Shamar Stewart kind of higher than I'm kind of just going a little off of my board with this, but yeah, Shamar Stewart, very raw. Again, has great acceleration, productive for Texas A&M. Texas A&M wouldn't have gotten close to the playoff if not for him. And that entire Texas A&M defensive line is just insane. And it's a little difficult when you have three guys like Stewart, Scorton, and Turner kind of commanding all those pressures and all that production, and you're kind of trying to figure out which is the best of those three. I think Stewart head and shoulders is above both of them. He's the pick here to Tampa at 19.
I agree. Broncos, I think here, you go Hampton right here. They lost Javonte Williams, and I know this is a reach, but I think they go Hampton right here.
I
The
don't think
Broncos need the Broncos need some firepower on offense. I feel like some people would say they need a receiver, but I just think that running back is just a much bigger need. I think Hampton's like, besides like JEANTY, he's like the best in this class.
I don't think Hampton's a reach at all. I'm going to be honest with you. I would have considered Hampton at 10. I would have considered
At
Hampton at
10?
6. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow,
he now I don't do I think he's as good as Genty? No, obviously not, but
obviously not.
the running back class is absolutely insane. And when we have insane running back classes, there are multiple that go higher than they should. I think Hampton's one of those guys. He's going to be uber productive. If he has, again, a good offensive line in front of him, looking at my notes here, like it is his elusiveness needs a little bit of work. But his hands, both in the receiving game and the running game, holds on the ball really well, catches the ball very well out of the backfield. Kind of a Sean Payton running back, if I've ever seen one.
Exactly, exactly.
I don't
There's
think this is.
there's a guy that I think you should pick here.
I don't
I
think this.
really hope you pick him.
I don't think Pittsburgh's flinching at this. This is Jade Barron out of
Mm,
Texas.
I had him taking Grant there, but that's a good pick for the Steelers.
Yeah, I like Grant in terms of getting after the quarterback, but I think Barron is just he will throw a guy off a route and it'll mess up the entire play for the offense. Pittsburgh kind of needs a guy like that when you have productive guys on the inside. Like you have, especially in that division, like you have Judy and you have Flowers. Like you got to be able to kind of take care of those guys and take them out of the game a little bit. And then you can also kind of put them outside if you need a guy to go up against a Jamar Chase or a T. Higgins and kind of take them to church a little bit. So Pittsburgh gets their corner. Hopefully, he is the lockdown guy now.
Yeah, they need one.
Yeah, it remains to be seen whether or not they can really get the best out of their corners and whatnot. So
Barron seems like a Mike Tomlin guy too.
yeah,
Now that I think about it, Chargers here. I think this is a no-brainer pick. I think they go Loveland right here. This is a
okay,
Jim Harbaugh guy. Jim Harbaugh likes his tight end, so I think they go Loveland right here. I don't really think there's really not much to say about this pick. I think it's just a no-brainer.
yeah,
Don't they need a tight end?
yeah. They definitely do. Maybe they pick up another guy like as a backup, like how Baltimore employs Mark Andrews a little bit. They have like Charlie Kolar behind him, and they've had he's slipping my mind. His name is Nick something, but Baltimore employed kind of that tight end package where they had a more receiving oriented tight end and employed another blocking tight end along with him. So that's probably how LA will use him a little bit. But yeah, he's absolutely he is a receiving threat first and foremost, and he'll pair up well with Ladd. This is Tet. Green Bay's got a crowded receiver room. Christian Watson, I get, is that jump ball guy, but he can't stay healthy. So you get Tet in there, and he opens up a lot more possibilities with Jaden Reed, especially. Get Jaden Reed more out on the field. Get Tet McMillan out there. And Green Bay's absolutely cooking. So,
Yeah, they have just a bunch of wide receiver three, so they need a number one. So I agree. Vikings here. I think we go Malachi Starks.
yeah, absolute need there. There is no question about the need they need in the safety room. They do need a little, I would argue, a couple more pieces on that offensive line, but they can definitely wait on those, even though this is probably one of my more pound the table trade back candidates with how little draft capital they have. Yeah, the safety just makes too much sense there. With Houston here, two guys kind of staring me back in the face, and it's between Kenneth Grant and Emeka Ibuka. Kind of two different needs there. We don't know really what status Dell is with the injury. I'm going to go with Kenneth Grant here, just by a little bit. Build up that defensive interior, and then
They need help on the trenches on the offensive side too. Like they just got to prioritize the
yeah,
trenches on this draft.
yeah, I would like that was definitely in play for me. Zabel's a very intriguing prospect. I don't know really what to kind of think of him, so I'd rather have the guy that I know a little more about with Kenneth Grant, um, and just like the more the merrier, basically. Build the Philadelphia philosophy. So LA to you.
Rams here. I think that the perfect scenario for them would have been Josh Simmons, but he's already off the board. So I think they go probably Connerly here. He's projected to go in the early second round, but I think they go Connerly here. Um, they re-signed Jackson, but Havenstein, he's getting older, so I think they might put in Connerly at right tackle, I presume.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of Connerly. Just like obviously you saw with the Ohio State game, he got absolutely
Yeah,
annihilated in that game, and then he got beat up once or twice at the Senior Bowl. I I'm just
I
wondering.
really, I really, I was really thinking Egbuka there, but to pair him up with Adams would be insane. But I just think that they do need some help on the offensive line there. Like I just do.
Yeah, and this opens up Baltimore to take Gray Zabel here. Uh,
Mm.
they've got
I think Detroit would have liked him.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Name is slipping my mind, but the Washington tackle they took last year has absolutely shown that he can stick with the big boys. Um, and Zabel pairs very well on that opposite side. Good Lord, I cannot talk. And it not creates a matchup nightmare, but answers a lot of mismatches they may have against a potential AFC playoff opponent. It took me 5 minutes to figure out how. Anyway, Detroit too.
They go Pierce here. They need help on defense. It's a pretty obvious pick here. This is a Dan Campbell kind of guy, man.
Yeah, and you rein that character in, you're probably if you rein that character in, you're reining in 10 sacks a year, like easily. And Detroit needs another guy outside of Hutch. Washington here, there's a lot of.
There's this one guy I want you to take here.
Does he play on the offensive or defensive side of the ball?
Defense side of the ball. But hey, it's your pick. It's your pick though.
They're both playing the same position, so it's kind of just who I prefer more, and it's going to be Landon Jackson here.
Landon Jackson. Wow.
I, he's my pound of the table guy in this class. He's 6'6". He's got unbelievable length and explosiveness. Like like if he has the instincts that everybody's saying he does, like I don't see how that can't be a double. I can't see how that can't be a double digit sack guy. Like you throw that guy in, you've got probably an immediately more productive player than Chase Young ever was as a commander.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean this that move like would be huge for the defense,
What
man. Like
what were you thinking there?
I was thinking Donovan. I don't even know how to say his last name, but
As a Rocco?
Azaraku, yeah.
As a Rocco's the
Yeah,
other guy.
I made it seem harder than it really was to pronounce it. Yeah. I like Azaraku a lot, but I think it's a good pick for Landon Jackson there. Buffalo, I think that here, ooh, this is a tough one because I think they could go a receiver maybe. They really need to prioritize the defensive line, man. Like,
Yeah.
I just think that if they want to win a Super Bowl, I really I mean, I don't want them to get it. I don't like the Bills, but like Harmon is such a guy that they need, but I don't think they take him. I think they take a Buka here. I mean, if he's fallen this far, they take a Buka. I hate to say it because an Ibuka guy, but they need another receiver to go along with Shakir. So
Yeah, I'm an Igbuka guy too. Like he's pound the table number two wide receiver, and it's like Burden's not close as much, and neither is Golden as much as people want to say. Like Golden is kind of the CFP darling in terms of the wide receiver standouts. So like it's Golden and Burden are just products of people liking someone that they like needing to like someone out of this class when they don't like a slot receiver who produced every single year he was at Ohio State. So yeah, Egbuka, yeah, absolutely creates a slot threat, especially when you passed on Worthy last year. You passed on McConkey. You take the slot guy, and you kind of it's almost a set and forget it pick. They have a lot of draft capital, so they can take an edge later. They can take a defensive tackle later.
and
Kansas,
They took Coleman over Worthy, right? Or did they trade back? I forgot how it went.
they traded back, and then they traded back again. They traded back. Kansas City got Worthy, and then they traded back with Carolina, and Carolina got Leggett.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so they need a receiver here, definitely.
yeah, yeah. Now here, I don't feel confident about those. offensive linemen on the board. Not
And
great.
didn't they just sign Jalen Moore?
Yeah.
But he's not, but he's more of a guy who like he didn't even play a full season. I think that's I could see them taking Ursary. I know that might sound shocking, but I don't know if well, how big was the Moore deal? If it was how much guaranteed money was that
Sorry, for who?
for Jalen Moore? How much guaranteed money was that? Do you know?
I Financial details are really weird to me. Like I
Anyway, I
I
think
see
they
the
gave him a big
tweet
contract.
and
So
then I'm like, is it really that much money? Like
I
so
think they did. I think they overpaid for Moore. So just scratch everything I just said. I think that they might need a guard here, but I don't know.
um they could go best player available here. I'm not again not wild about the offensive line prospects here, and I'll see another one going for another 10 to 12 picks. Um I don't think receiver is remotely in play here. I think they just take the best player available at the moment, and that's Donovan Ezaraku.
Mhm.
Um,
That's a that's just a Kansas City guy, man.
yeah,
Yeah, Eric Spagnola would love him.
yeah, yeah. So Philly to you to round this out.
Now, Philly lost a lot of guys. They lost Milton Williams, Josh Sweat. They so many other big names they lost in free agency. They're going to need help on the defense side. They're going to take Harmon here.
All right, over the corners on the board.
Yeah, I they need help. They need help on the defensive line. So I know still have Jalen Carter, but I think they just that's who they need.
All right, yeah, we took a lot of defensive linemen in this.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of uh, a little bit of chalk. There's a couple chalk picks, and then a couple just outlandish picks, which I like. I like that a lot because
yeah, but that's the thing about the draft. Like you don't expect it.
yeah, you
Like
don't.
I don't think anyone expected like or expects Genty to go to the Patriots or
Yeah,
even
exactly.
Sanders to go to the Raiders. No one expects that shit. Or even Mike Green to the Saints.
Yeah,
Like that's the
yeah.
craziest pick, Mike Green to the Saints, in my opinion.
Really, really.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I see Mike Green as more of like in the 20s.
Okay. Yeah. Again, like I said earlier, the edge class, it's kind of all over the place. It's like Walker could be like your sixth best overall player, or he could be your sixth best edge. Like it,
Yeah,
that's what's really fascinating about this defensive line class is it's all over the place. Like
yeah.
if you say like, oh, Shamar Stewart's the second best edge in this class, I'd be like, okay. Like if you said Nick Scorton was a top four edge in this class, I'd be like, I don't agree with it, but it's cool. Like we're talking about these guys and we're all kind of like all over the place. And some guys have their guys like I have Landon Jackson, I have Emeka Egbuka in this class. I really Will Johnson has kind of gone back and forth for me. I'm kind of back on a high a little bit with Will Johnson. So and Tyler Booker, one of those guys, Michael Williams. So yeah, it's all over the place. And again, the hot takes give us something to talk about. So yeah,
That's the beauty of the draft.
yeah, absolutely. And on April 24th, I can't wait to hear the Patriots say they're taking Josh Connerly at 4, and I'm throwing everything and anything in my possible grasp.
I'm gonna be so pissed they take Campbell. Not that I don't think he's a good player, but like at 4, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think you explore the trade back option. Um,
I really think for the Patriots, like if you get Hunter or Carter, W.
yeah.
Can you imagine like Hunter playing along with Gonzalez and Davis, and then adding Travis Hunter with Stephon Diggs? That is just nuts to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Just
again,
nuts.
I am pounding the table on a Keyshawn Butte breakout. I think he can snatch probably 850 yards and 8 or so touchdowns playing on the outside with a guy who's going to command a lot of attention on in the slot. So yeah, and then if you draft Genty, you've got another guy who's commanding a lot of attention in the backfield, just opening up even more, or even Hunter. Like you're just adding another guy to just throw the ball to your best jump ball receiver in
Yeah. And
Bijan.
that's the thing is I think a lot of people like in the scenario where Cam Gore goes one, Carter two, Hunter three, like that's definitely a possibility. I don't think it happens, but it's a possibility. I think it goes two quarterbacks in the top three. But I think a lot of people would say Campbell over Genty because I think it's just more of a need for the Patriots to get an offensive lineman. But I just think that with Ashton Genty, like I think lots of people overrate Ramondre Stevenson. I don't think he's that good.
Yeah,
He has fumbling issues. He's more of just a bell cow back. Like I think he's a solid player. Like he's a good number two back, but I just don't think he's as good as people make him out to be.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he is the thunder to somebody's lightning. Like if you have a guy
Exactly.
who can break off a 70-yard run on speed alone, like or speed and a little bit of uh cut move and whatnot, like a one cut back that just boom, he gets to the second level. Like Ramondre Stevenson, it takes 5 minutes for him to get to the second level. So again, yeah, a dynamic running back, absolutely, either at 4 or I believe 36, 37, 38, 39, one of those picks. Can't remember
Yeah.
what number it is, but or at 69. Nice, but yeah, a dynamic running back at any of those spots is absolutely in play. I would love a Travion Henderson if the Patriots didn't go running back round one. I would love a Dylan Sampson.
Judkins. I would love Judkins too.
Yeah, yeah, there's a little bit I can't remember the exact stat, but there's a little bit of concern about him. I think it's in the honestly, it's like yards per route run for running backs. Yeah, there's a little bit of a weird metric to use to evaluate running backs, but it also evaluates their receiving upside and whatnot. That's important for a guy like May. Um, but
Who
yeah,
would you prefer? Quick question. Who would you prefer, Judkins or Henderson? Because I think, in my opinion, before you answer, okay, you say Henderson. Okay, so the reason why I say this is I think it would fit our offense more than Judkins. As much as I like Judkins, I think he's a better back than Henderson. I just think that Henderson, he's more of a receiving back and a guy who can just run the ball. And Judkins can do the same thing, but I just think that Josh McDaniels, he likes receiving backs, and I just think that's more of a fit.
yeah, and he fills the James White role. So,
Yeah. Gabe,
um,
Gabe Pats shout out.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So that'll wrap this up. Everybody, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. There's like 89% of y'all that are watching this and not subscribing. Please subscribe. It means the world to me. Ryan, thank you for joining us.
Horseman.
Pleasure. And that'll be that.